Okay, I think we can start. In any case, people can join us as we go. Welcome all to the 8th episode in a series of webinars showcasing the use cases and benefits of Copernicus, the Earth observation component of the EU space program. My name is Sofia Oteruga-Bono. I'm part of the Copernicus Support Office, and I'll be your moderator today. This 8th webinar looks at how Copernicus data can be used to support climate neutral and smart cities. I should mention that this webinar is being partially recorded and will be shared on the Copernicus EU YouTube channel. To make the webinar more interactive, we will be using Slido for live questions. Also, so if you have downloaded WebEx, you will find Slido on the right-hand side of your screen in the Apps tab. If you're joining us directly from your browser, you can access Slido using the link shared in the chat. You may respond to the questions that pop up on Slido as we go. And also you may ask any questions based on the content presented today. So please feel free to type in your questions so that we may answer them during the Q&A sessions after each of the presentations. So just to have an initial icebreaker, we would like to ask you on Slido, as I mentioned, what sector do you currently work on or study? To start, let's go briefly through the agenda for today. We will have 2 presentations from experts in the field. We have Olga Bodet from Zero Gravity and Jesús Ortuño Castillo from GMV. Following each of the presentations, we will open the floor to you, the audience, for you to ask any questions that you may have. So please feel free to type in your questions on Slido. Now, before we start with our first speaker, I will be pausing the recording. Yeah, resume. There we go. So now, before we continue to our second presentation, we have another question for the audience on Slido. We are curious to know what brought you to this webinar on Copernicus for climate neutral and smart cities. So we look forward to read your answers. Jesús, are you there? There we go. Perfect. So our next speaker is Jesús Ortuño Castillo. Jesús is a geographer and project manager at GMV and an associate professor at sorry, my brain went into Spanish and I was gonna just read it in Spanish. He's an associated professor at the Complutense University of Madrid. He holds a bachelor in geography, a master's in crime analysis and prevention, and another master's in competence for teaching in secondary school. He's skilled on analyzing urban development, population growth models, and urban history. He has worked at urban planning and at the Marine Research Center. Since 2016, he's part of GMV, where he manages projects such as Urban GreenUP. He also runs geographic analysis for deriving added value layers in topics like agriculture, urban dynamics, and environmental analysis. In addition, he was the co-leader of the Africultures project, which evaluated new analytics to support food security in Africa. Jesús, the floor is yours.
Okay, now I'm going to try to share my screen. Can you
We can see it, yes.
Okay, perfect. That's fantastic. So, well, thank you for your introduction. Thank you all for attending this webinar. And I think myself I've been introduced, so I will skip that part and I'll start the presentation on enhancing urban greenery monitoring, the insights from the project Urban GreenUP 2020 project, and I will comment on that and beyond. Well, today I will comment about the insights, what is Urban GreenUP, the lessons we learned, and the beyond scenario that we are dealing. Well, Urban GreenUP is basically a project that aims to turn the cities from gray to green. Before we talk about how we can access this or assess this from from space, I would like you to introduce the project. Okay. Urban GreenUP is an H2020 project that aims to make the cities more livable by mitigating the effects of the climate change and improving the quality of the life of the citizens by implementing nature-based solutions, which are green infrastructure that replicates natural process observed in the nature. The project started 5 years ago, and the time span of the project was envisioned for 60 months, so 5 years. But COVID happened, and the city works were affected. So we had to extend the life of the project 1 more year, and we are facing now the final stage of the project that will end very soon. I mean next week, and shortly after that. Well, as you can see on the screen at the moment, you can see the consortium of the project, the budget that we had from the European Commission. The project team counts with 8 municipalities, 9 research and technological centers, 2 SMA, 2 large industries, 2 non-profit organizations, and from several nationalities, as you can see. The project core are 3 demo cities, in which you can see here on the map in orange, in which the NBS, the nature-based solutions, will be implemented. And then there are European follower cities in blue in the screen, and also non-European follower cities. The idea behind this is to test the nature-based solutions in the demo and transfer the knowledge built to the follower cities. So let's talk about the 3 main cities, which are Izmir, Liverpool, and Valladolid. This here in the screen, you'll see now the implemented solution that goes from tree planting, rain gardens, green filters, vertical gardens, green roofs, and so on. That's in Valladolid was in the previous slide. In this one, you'll see Liverpool ones, in which here I'll showcase as well some of the non-technical interventions that you can see that are as part of the project to raise awareness to the city, the citizens, and or the Izmir in Turkey ones that come from smart soils, cool pavement, natural pollinators, and so on. You'll see here some of them. And during the time of the project, also it was created a network of cities that you will see now on our latest map. And please save this concept that we'll get here back later. The idea behind this is to create a network of municipalities to share some experience and raise awareness, and probably cultivate some network for future collaborations also. Which is GMB? What is the GMB's role in the project, which is the company I belong? Well, we oversee the coordination of the monitoring by working closely to the municipalities and expert team in the project on selecting most of the appropriate KPIs for each of the cities. Define also the specification for the ICT tools for that we use during the project, and probably to use beyond also. I mean, it's a document that we created that can serve in the future as well. We set some guidelines and define the monitoring scheme for the NBS. Also monitoring the monitoring, so also monitoring the supervision or supervising the supervision of the data collection process as well. Let's go and check very quick about the insight. We built from the Eclipse mechanism. We selected 10 challenges that could be important for each of the cities, for each city diagnosis, and then from that list we selected yes, we selected a list of indicators that it's customized a bit them and to define the methodology, the technology to be used, and procedures to capture the data we aiming to do. Our 75 indicators are well defined. More or less 40 are calculated by each of the cities. Depending on the city, the number could vary. And well, but well, here is, you'll see here our beloved Sentinel-2. One of our aims, as we come from the remote sensing division at GNB, was to put use our experience, our expertise, and the use of Copernicus to address this topic as well. So, well, we all here probably know already the use. Here are a short list or general topics can be addressed or are being addressed. And for the general public, well, we'd say that as we said first, the first thing we did was, as it was a green project, we wanted to take a look on the greenness of the city. So by calculating the NPI, as you know, is a vegetation index, we can assess if a city, the green in our city is dead, or an inanimate object, or is shining in the opposite, on the contrary. So we calculated a baseline for each of the cities at the start of the project in 2017. And well, by the time series allow us to see variation during the lifespan of the project, thanks to the revisiting frequency that Sentinel-2 supplies can provide. We wanted to match the challenges I commented before to the vegetation indices, and we wanted to do with data from space. So we were aiming to see if we can provide something that can be a link between it. So green areas, green roof mapping, three storage condition, urban heat island effect, you know, as you can see on the screen. So the first thing the first product we aimed was the green area, with showing the stratotypes from arboreal to non-arboreal to estimate a rough number in the city to see if matches. And then as well, using the land surface temperature, well, it was a special interest for Izmir city in Turkey about to assess the heat waves. So we map some episodes at the one shown at the moment on the screen. But actually, this is what you probably guess it if you are speaking, but if you are more from the general public side, you'll see here is using Landsat H imagery. But well, first, well, not first, but I will continue. We learned some lessons during the way because, well, we aimed that, but the scope of the project was a bit different. You see here, I'll see you some of the interventions that were planned during this time in the city. So we come from green walls, vertical gardens, as you can see here, pollinators, hotels, you know, green facades, parklets, well, green island that have an amazing innovation behind, but are quite significant to the well-being of the citizens, and are at the moment are referenced in the field and all. But you know, we couldn't see any of them, or we were not enough. They were not enough for Sentinel to resolution. Well, actually, not all of them, because there was the GreenUP that we could eventually see. You can see here the screen images from before it was settled, and after. You see in the right, a small dot appear, and we could assess it, well, at least capture it, you see. But well, let's talk about beyond, which I believe is quite remarkable too. I commented before about remembering this concept, because from the partnership that came from Urban GreenUP and by the use of the network of cities, we were able to participate in an additional project in ESA, by the European Agency. I mean, the European Space Agency, sorry, between Castillo, which was prime of Urban GreenUP and prime in this consortium as well, GMP, and CU Space Tech Center as well. We prototype some solutions here. We use the network of cities to gather some of the requirements also, and well, I will try to pass this kind of quick, because I think we are running out of time. But as I speak quickly, I hope I can match both, because it's not long now. This is an overview of the activities undertaken during the span of this, which already ended. You know that the GreenUP was really long one, because we had to do some of the construction works and then monitor it afterwards and all. But this was, you know, it's shorter type of projects. So this is the list of the proposed services we created, such as vegetation mapping, urban green spaces, vegetation health monitoring, and change detection services, by the combination of not only using Sentinel-2, but also Landsat, synthetic images based on Sentinel-2, very high resolution imagery, and some of the prototypes, even drones or LiDAR sensors to be able to provide different type of products. Depending on the scenario, as you can see here, well, we're facing the outputs may vary. That's for, well, here are some, you'll see here some examples of the scenarios visions, and which we ended up creating. Well, some here on the screen you'll see some of the example of land cover for Bucharest, vegetation mapping, or the estimation of the vegetation per inhabitant. As you know, these days, as one of the output that we probably will transform into a paper with the assessment we made before in the Urban GreenUP project, was the rule of the 330, 300. About you must see. I mean, there are some papers now linking the well-being of the mental health of the citizens of a city. About if you can see 3 canopies of trees from your window, if in your district is at least 30% of green area, or if you are 300 meters away, or your house is 300 meters away from or distance from a big park. So we are trying to match this as well, and as an output of the Urban GreenUP project that I commented before. But what we ended was creating on an urban portfolio that can serve for urban planners, decision makers, and citizens in general to achieve a greener city. And yes, we are an entity that we are looking to keep exploring, to aiming to keep working on this. So don't hesitate to contact me for further exchange of ideas. and well, our further collaboration. So I'm here to listen some of your questions and try to address them if I can. As I mean, I'm here the front face, but I'm not the one. I mean, I'm not the only one working in all of it. We are a team, so if I cannot solve the questions now, I will probably encourage you to do it, to drop me an email and we find an answer then. So from my side.
Thank you very much, Jesús, for your very interesting presentation and for reaching out to everyone to engage with you and to create synergies with your project. I think that's very interesting, and I like the attitude. We now open the floor to any questions from the audience, and we actually already have one. In the chat, it says green areas structures in cities are known to have different benefits, but it is not easy to quantify them or have a clear idea of gained benefits. Did you manage to determine such benefits of NBS, or do you have recommendations of what are the best NBS solutions for different challenges, issues?
Okay, I think it's a fantastic question. I mean, has all the questions that were raised in the chat are really specific and are to the point, and I'm really enthusiastic with this audience. Yes, it's really difficult to match the benefits. We had some non-technical interventions in which we try to gather by questionnaires or even by using some GMB development application to match them to get some of the questions or the feeling of the people and some of the specifics as well. And I think it's remarkable to comment it that during the time of the project, what happened was the lockdown. So people started to see the outdoors or to see the green areas in the cities quite differently. And that is, at the beginning, it was something that, independent of the city, plays against us because has the budget, it was established before COVID. During COVID time or just after the lockdown, the city works started and people at the beginning feel like, why are we spending money on this when the world is collapsing, something like that, no? But then soon the benefits from the areas, the green areas, the parks, the well-being at the end of the cities started to rise, and I think it's something that is one of the best outcomes that we achieve. But to quantify them, we'll have we will be publishing some of the definition of the indicators in the following month once the documents are well reviewed, and we'll be able to share it with all the public. So keep an eye on the Urban GreenUP website because there we'll be publishing what all the team did, and I think you probably will find some of the I wouldn't say the answer at all, but maybe some of the clues and some of the solutions we put in practice on the problems we had, because that is another additional thing that we faced, that depending on the city, even though we're the same, but not always the same problems, we had many different outcomes depending of many different factors, and we tried a tremendous effort to match that into a document that is already published on good practice for the Urban GreenUP project as well. So I don't know. I will encourage you to have a look to our website. We are still working on it, as we have about 3 more months to finally polishing and giving an extra shine to the project, but most of it is already there. So, and also you have my email. So
We will certainly keep an eye keep an eye on your website and on the results from the project. And I actually have a few follow-up questions to what you just answered, because you mentioned that after or during the pandemic there was an increase in interest from the population in having green areas in urban areas. So I was wondering if, since you mentioned that you have a network of municipalities that are working or that you're working with, I was wondering if the number of network members increased after the pandemic, or if you didn't see any changes.
I mean, we experienced one of the partners in the consortium was in charge of reaching the cities, and most of the cities came after the pandemic. I don't know exactly, or I can tell you if it was because of the pandemic or it was because of at the same time, but I think it's something there as well. I mean, I think you may be right. And after the pandemic, most of the, I would say, citizens' interest reflected to the politics, and then all the majors or dependent entity in the municipality started to look to that. And also probably affected as well towards the European funds for next generation and everything, that most of are directly to these topics, and I probably see that affecting as well. So it's always multifactorial. So I don't know, and it's my personal, my own opinion. I can.
Well, but it's your own opinion, but as an expert, so it's perfectly valid. Another one of my follow-up questions was that you mentioned that already from the beginning, so you had this 3 demo cities, and then there are the follower cities, and in your answer to our participant question, you mentioned that you're creating some guidelines, because of course this is not a one-fit-all solution. You need to adapt it to each one of the cities. So how has it moved from the demos to the follower cities? How is that change going to happen? Are you going to be supporting those municipalities that are follower cities?
Well, we participated in one of the webinars of replication, because it was a full task devoted to replication. And for that was to take all the knowledge that we can share from the demo cities to the follower cities. And the team in charge of this, it was SPI in Portugal. They were creating these follow-up webinars, and at the same time sharing the knowledge. They created replicability plans, and also I think it works quite well. I think that is one of the best, because at the end, when in a municipality, we tend to think about that the politicians and everything, it goes one way, but then there are the technical people working on the specific problems in each municipality. So what happened here is they put technical people in the municipality to speak the same language and share their own experiences, and that is, I mean, it's a fantastic exchange of lesson, and I can tell from the observer side, because I was part of one of the webinars, but I've been also a participant on the activities or as an observer, and I think that, or the synergies that came from that, is something that is really, or I think European Commission should explore that further, because I think if you put the same people talking the same language together, I mean, that's just skyrocket.
Exactly, it makes things easier. It makes it easier to actually move forward and achieve your goals. If you allow me just one last question, so that we don't go over time. You mentioned at the beginning that the project with Horizon 2020 funding is reaching an end in a few weeks or months. I was wondering what's the future? Are you planning on applying for Horizon Europe, or how is it moving forward?
Well, from my personal case, we are at the moment open to everything, of course. I think the project is ending, but what came from the project is at the moment getting to the citizens. We have years ahead of people experiencing the outcomes of it. I mean, we have the vertical gardens, we have everything at the moment placed in each of the cities. I really believe that people will see the benefits not right after we end up the funding, but some years after. And probably, I mean, there are some of the interventions that are at the moment icons of each of the cities. For example, it was one small intervention at the beginning. It was the written name of Valladolid in green, and that's now the flagship of the city. So. You never know. I mean, and there is another I presented before. There is a green wall in a facade of well, actually are two, because in the airport is the same, but in Mark and Spencer, I think in Spain is in the Corte Inglés, and there is a co-funded. I mean, the European Commission put some. I mean, the project put some funding there, but the private entity build it and maintain it. So the thing is, I don't know that could be extended even in the same branch or not. I mean, it's up. A lot is open. We have many things that we don't actually know how beneficial will be at the end, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Exactly. Let's see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jesús, for your very interesting presentation and for answering all of our questions. We are now reaching the end of this 8th Copernicus webinar. I want to thank again both of our speakers for such interesting and engaging presentations, and thank you, the audience, for your participation and engagement. We hope that you learned something new today about how Copernicus can be used for supporting climate neutral and smart cities. Before you leave, we would love to have some quick feedback from you, so we would appreciate it if you could answer one final question on Slido, which is: how useful have you found the content of this webinar? And if you have any other questions or comments, you can reach us through our online channels, which I invite you to follow in case you aren't already doing so, to stay up to date with Copernicus. Thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar, and have a nice day. See you next time.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.